All right, so now we're going to do volume of a sphere, but it's going to be a word problem. So a company makes chocolate candies in the shape of a solid sphere. So you can see I gave you kind of an example over here. Each piece of candy has a diameter of 6 centimeters. If a box contains 15 pieces of candy, how much chocolate does the box contain? Use 3.14 for pi and do not round your answer. All right, so we can see there's some information here, right? So I have my box, and we'll fill it with candies in just a moment. It gave me diameter on this one, so be careful about that. They throw it in every once in a while. The radius is what I need, right? So it's 3 centimeters for the radius, and the way I do that is it's 6 divided by 2, because a diameter goes all the way across, and a radius only goes halfway across. So if they give me a diameter, I just have to cut it in half. So I get 3 centimeters for my radius. And then the box contains 15 candies. So here you go. Here's your 15 candies. I kind of shoved them in there as I could. So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of 3, right? So 15 different little circular candies there in my box. So what is the formula for the volume of a sphere? Oh, sorry, forgot to highlight the rest of this. Use 3.14 for pi and do not round your answer. Super important instructions, because if I don't use 3.14 for pi, I won't end up with the correct answer. And if I round my answer any more than using this 3.14, again, I also won't get the correct answer. Alex will mark me wrong. So make sure you're paying attention to those directions. So the formula for the volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi times r cubed. So if you have your radius, you can actually go straight into this formula, okay? Which we do. We know our radius is 3 centimeters. Again, that's half the diameter. And they told us to use 3.14 for pi. So what are we being asked to find, and why do we need to use volume? So remember, we're being asked how much chocolate is in the box. So not how much chocolate is per candy, which is what we're going to calculate with the volume, okay? But if I know how much chocolate is used per piece, then I can find a total, because I can just simply multiply that by the number of candies in the box, right? So we're going to go ahead and plug our formula together. So we have 4/3 pi times r cubed, so 3.14 for pi and 3 for our radius. So remember on this one, before I jump into the calculator, I'm going to do the cube first. I'm going to go 3 cubed. This does not mean 3 times 3. This tells me how many 3's to use, so it's 3 times 3 times 3. If you don't have a cube button, that's how you can do that. So 3 cubed, then I'm going to multiply by 3.14. And when I get to my fraction here, I'm going to multiply by the top. So I'm going to say times 4, and then I'm going to divide by 3. So I'm going to show you. So on here, I'm going to go 3. Okay, so I have a cube button on this calculator. You may not have a cube button. You can use this button here. That's X, Y. And what this is you type in 3, you still type your 3 in, and then you click this button, and now your calculator is going to wait for you to tell it what your exponent is, which would also be 3. So you click 3 and then equals. If you have a cube button, you can simply click the cube button, and it will cube it for you. You can also just go 3 times 3 times 3, and it will give you 27. So now I'm going to multiply by 3.14, and I'm going to hit equals. So now I have 84.78. So now I'm going to deal with my fraction. I'm going to multiply by the top, that numerator. So times 4, so I end up with 333.12. And now I'm going to deal with the denominator. I'm going to divide by 3, and I get 113.04. So make sure don't round until you get to the very end if it's asking you to round at all, okay? So I wouldn't round at all. I would leave it here because this, if you rounded this to 113, when you get to the end here, it might end up a little bit off, okay? So how many candies does the box hold? Remember, that was 15. So I'm going to multiply to find the total chocolate used, because each chocolate uses 113.4 centimeters cubed, and I have 15 of those. Okay, so I'm going to multiply my volume times the number of candies, and I'll have my total volume of chocolate used, which sounds like a lot, but it's centimeters, so it's pretty small. It's still 1,695.6 cubic centimeters. So if you understand what a centimeter is, it's not very big, but it's a centimeter by a centimeter by a centimeter. So think of a cube that's a centimeter long by a centimeter wide by a centimeter tall, and you have 1,695.6 of those. So you still have a lot of cubes, but they're small cubes. Okay, so that is volume of a sphere in a word problem. I hope that helped, and I will see you in the next video.